When's the last time you drove in a 57 Chevy?
Rusty and dusty, chromed out to the max.
Lots of horsepower.
A stylish person would choose the Chevy.
Just look at the beautiful lines. Look at the beautiful curves.
It's not my dad's car. It's not my husband's car. That's my car.
There's something about Chevy that separates itself from everybody else.
Harley Earl's third dream car really was the charm.
They call her Corvette, and she belongs to the highways.
After the war, GIs were coming home with sports cars from England, MGs and such. Harley Earl quickly picked up on that and made an American sports car. It was so good as a dream car that it really had to go into production. And one of the technological strides there was that the Corvette was made of fiberglass.
This very first concept Corvette was designed in Harley Earl Studios. I just love the design of the vehicle. And there are some shapes on the car that would have been very difficult in something other than fiberglass. You know, these fins and even this kind of shape here would have been very difficult to do in sheet metal.
Now touring America's principal cities, General Motors' 1953 Motorama is attracting crowds like this one of 55,000 New Yorkers who throng to the Waldorf Astoria on opening day.
I was at the introduction of the Corvette at the Waldorf Astoria, and it was just a horrible car. I'm a race driver, I know, and I've built cars, and I know how they should handle
160 horsepower.
decades-old six-cylinder engine.
Naturally, the automatic transmission quadrants on the floor.
No manual transmission.
Clean and sleek and efficient looking.
And the fit and finish was even worse. The gaps between the doors and the body were a quarter of an inch. Things didn't fit at all.
Boy, what a car.
The fact that Chevrolet was making it, that was the only good thing. It had a future.
I remember the 53s when they first came out. I was 18 years old, senior in high school. We went down to the Chevrolet dealership to see this Corvette. And Mr. Nash, who was the dealer, hated the car. And he said, why would any tomfool pay that kind of money for the car? It's not even a Chevrolet. And that car sat there for a long, long time.
Corvette almost failed right out of the box. It almost didn't make it. And then it got a big, fat racing engine, and it hit the big time.
Chevy finally had a new small block V8 engine. And what an engine it was. It turned out to be a great race motor.
In 1955, Zora Duntov, fantastic engineer for GM, took the V8 engine, modified it to some degree, put it in the Corvette, and all of a sudden knew that we had something totally different than we'd ever seen before.
The first time I drove a Corvette, I went for a production car record on the beach at Daytona. I set a record of 145, which was phenomenal at the time.
Here gather the great sports cars of Europe. Ferrari, Jaguar, and a sensational newcomer, Chevrolet's Corvette. John Fitch is the driver, a World War II fighter pilot. With Zora Duntov, Chevrolet's engineer in charge on this special Corvette project.
Zora Duntov put it on a map from a performance level, and what an incredible personality. Dynamic, you know, brash, engineer, race car driver.
This is one of the grand sports that were built to race back in the day in '63. And this one's got Duntov DNA all over it. You know, he was a maverick. I don't know where exactly inside General Motors it was built, but it definitely wasn't built on the production line. So much of it was built in secret. Back then, you weren't supposed to be building race cars inside GM. Duntov found a way to do it kind of in the closet. He had to find engineering dollars and do all the testing.
His passion absolutely drove the effort on those cars. He was after me all the time to do a mid-engine car. And he came walking into my office. He said, I bring plans for mid-engine. Look at the plan. Look, perfect car. I said, we can't do it. We just can't afford it. You cannot afford it. You're saying no? You're telling Zora no? I said, I'm telling Zora no. He said, he rolled plans up. Said, very well. I built this son of a bitch myself, and walked out of the office. That's the passion that this gentleman had at 80 years old for that car.
Duntov was way ahead of his time. He could see the future, and he wanted to make sure that the Corvettes were successful.